All right, kids, I have successfully reached my Danny Glover year. I realize that Danny Glover's character in Lethal Weapon, Roger Murtaugh, turned 50 in the movie. But still,
I'm too old for this shit.
Today we're going to talk about inflation. Specifically, price increases for what we eat and drink. How much we pay for food, whether it's groceries or at restaurants, costs a lot. It's brutal, cruel, but not unusual. Like Mel Gibson's racist rants.
Raj, meet your new partner.
I'm too old for this shit.
Inflation is impacting people all over the world, and it used to be worse here in America, but not in my lifetime. And while some people mark the passage of time with how much a movie ticket or postage stamp or a gallon of gas would cost, I saw this image of how much a 2-cheeseburger meal at McDonald's used to be $2.99. And it took me back to a time when I missed McDonald's pizza and their play places. Today, a survey found that an average medium Big Mac meal has risen in price from $5.69 in 2014 to $9.72 in 2024, an increase of about 70%. The price of a medium Big Mac meal ranged in price from $7.89 in Houston to $15 in Seattle. And a Big Mac meal from a McDonald's at a rest stop in Darien, Connecticut ended up costing $18. Yet, somehow, some way, the more things change, the more things stay the same.
$1.49?
But the price on the can, though.
The price is on the can, though.
Arizona iced tea. So confident in its brand that the price is on the can, though. 22 ounces for 99 cents, except for when a store doesn't want to sell it for that. Still.
You could be selling your cans for more. Your competitors certainly are selling their beverages for more. Why not increase the price and therefore increase the profit?
We're successful. We're debt-free. We own everything. Why? Why have people who are having a hard time paying their rent have to pay more for our drink? Maybe it's my little way to give back.
So would you definitively say that you'll never raise that 99-cent price?
Never. Not in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to fight as hard as we can for consumers, because consumers.
That was Don Voltaggio, a billionaire. He owns 100% of the Arizona beverage company with his two sons. Voltaggio created the company in 1992 when he decided to get into tea and founded it in New York after seeing the success of Snapple. In 2017, Arizona sold more than 3 billion containers of product, which now includes CBD-infused drinks and hard vodka seltzers. An estimated $1.2 billion worth of lemon tea, green tea, Arnold Palmer, half and half, and 85 other varieties of teas, juices, waters, and beers, making Arizona the second largest ready-to-drink tea brand in America, behind only Lipton. So they're beating out Snapple. It also makes Voltaggio and family worth $6.5 billion, with the Don worth an estimated $3 billion, enough to rank in the Forbes 400 year to year. It shows that some CEOs can have some success while maintaining some standards.
You must be tired at this point of answering questions about food court, but you did tweak some prices on some items on the menu, which inevitably leads to speculation about the hot dog combo. Is there any inflationary environment where you would raise that price?
No.
It could all be so simple. Costco CEO Craig Jelinek kept his response simple. One word. Jelinek is a little more descriptive when he tells the story about when he wanted to raise the price of the hot dog and pop combo sold in Costco food courts for $1.50 since 1985. As the story goes, I came to Jim Senegal, the founder of Costco, once and said, "Jim, we can't sell this hot dog for $1.50. We are losing our rear ends." And he said, "If you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. Figure it out." With that said, California state-mandated minimum wage hikes for fast food joints have seemingly led to more price increases and, unfortunately, layoffs. We're going to focus on McDonald's, which is so influential that the price of a Big Mac is used as a weird way of measuring the purchasing power parity between two currencies. But first, I'll leave a link to my email address in the description of this here channel in order to allow the audience to contact me with questions, concerns, and offer to collaborate outside of my comment section. And I'm sorry if you've tried to reach me and I missed it, but I can't be trusting stuff because I get too much spam. And some is easy to spot. Look at this one. I guess my first name is Gone, which would make my middle name B, with my last name as Alright? Where's the we? Others are funny. This says, my late husband deposited a total sum of $9,700,000 US with one of the leading banks here in Burkina Faso. I want you to receive the money and take 30% to take care of yourself and family, while 70% should be used basically on humanitarian purposes. Y'all didn't tell me that there was a remix to the African Prince scam? Oh wait, you tried to warn me with an email, didn't you? See? That's exactly why I now use Aura, the sponsor of this video. Aura lets me know when my personal information has been part of a data breach or leaked on a dark web. It gives me fast fraud alerts if anyone tries to use that data to access my bank accounts. And it removes my info from data broker websites so I get less spam. I still want some spam though, just for a laugh. With Aura, I also get transaction monitoring, a VPN, antivirus, a password manager, parental controls, and identity theft insurance, because when your name is gonna be alright, you never know who wants to impersonate you. All of this comes in one app at one affordable price. So feel free to leave your questions, comments, and concerns in my email. Contact me about collaborating. I'm not worried because Aura is always on, always keeping me and my family safe. But I am flaky. I'll get back to you eventually. Until then, go to aura.com/alright to try your first 2 weeks for free. That's aura.com/ALRIGHT. You can also find that link below in the description. McDonald's has to be one of only 3 brands, along with Nike and Apple, that can just show you their logo almost anywhere in the world and be like, you know who I am. The company that doesn't sell the 2 cheeseburger meal anymore. As you're about to see, McDonald's has the opportunity to do the coolest thing for its customers. And also, there should be more people who feel like this when they see the goat and arches.
I'm too old for this.
Meet Scott Roderick, a Dartmouth College graduate and former investment banker who has also co-founded a separate boutique restaurant group called Taste on the Fly. Roderick has said his father, Guy, was among the pioneering franchisees who joined hands with McDonald's founder, Ray Kroc, in the 1960s.
If you're looking at, what's driving inflation on my side of the counter, of course, it is the cost of labor, the cost of entry-level labor. We're in the people business. We just so happen to sell hamburgers. And so the idea of cutting hours, cutting shifts, that for my business is not sustainable. People are my greatest asset in my company. So I'm looking at trying to identify other costs to survive this unprecedented legislation.
Roderick says he has franchising in his blood and he was born with ketchup in his veins, a line he's borrowing from Kroc. One of Roderick's McDonald's franchises, the one in Stonestown Galleria Mall in San Francisco, closed last month in June of 2024. Fox News and the New York Post deemed this closing to be the latest casualty of California's new $20 minimum wage. That McDonald's permanently shut its doors after more than 30 years in business. However, Roderick blamed this closure on a number of factors, including the landlord refusing to negotiate on long-term rent, high property taxes, and a mall tenant fee. All of which combined made that Stonestown McDonald's the most expensive location to operate out of Roderick's restaurant company. We will get back to this in a minute. In addition to McDonald's in California, a smaller chain such as Rubio's Coastal Grill was forced to close dozens of locations across the state in June, only to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy days later. In all, 10,000 people lost their job. Let's put that in perspective.
There's something that people call denominator blindness. 10,000 jobs being lost in California sounds big, and when we recognize that it's a 1.47 million job sector, it's actually a rounding error of less than 1% at 0.68%. When we look at seasonal job changes, this is a normal fluctuation for California.
McDonald's topped $23 billion in global revenue in 2021. During the throes of the pandemic, $25 billion in 2023, due in part to price increases on burgers and other items which were made to offset rises in food costs. For instance, last year, beef prices rose about 8%, more than the price of any other meat according to the government-tracked Consumer Price Index. But beef wasn't the only one. Plus, the supply of cows is low. The number of beef cattle in the U.S. is the lowest it's been in years. Part of this dates back to the pandemic, when safety issues at meat packaging plants and supply chain snags meant ranchers couldn't sell their cows. At the same time, the cost of the hay to feed the cattle went through the roof. Since February of 2020, just before the pandemic, beef had gotten about 30% more expensive. Field-grown tomatoes cost 16.9% more year over year, and white potatoes are roughly 22% more expensive. Lettuce increased about 25% over 2022, and that's most of the ingredients needed to make a McDonald's meal that won't gather mold. Y'all remember when the price of eggs got really expensive at the end of 2022 into 2023? It was after a deadly outbreak of avian flu killed millions and millions of birds, including turkeys and ducks. Yeah, egg companies happened to make a record profit then, in spite of a lack of egg-laying hens. Look, I don't know chicken anatomy. I couldn't even tell you if the proper name for a man chicken is a cock or rooster or man chicken. But I know all of this took place around the same time stuff wasn't making mathematical sense.
They said there's a chicken wing shortage, but we got plenty thighs.
The new Cali statewide wage hike, moving the minimum wage from $16 to $20 an hour just for workers at limited service restaurants, was too much to keep the lights on for the Scott Rodericks of the world, who owns, or at least owned, 18 McDonald's restaurants in Northern California and, according to him, has built an $80 million enterprise. The thing about that is, in October of 2023, 6 months before the minimum wage increases in California took effect, another McDonald's restaurant owned by Roderick closed after being open since 1994. This one in San Francisco's financial district. And when that happened, Scotty, who told the San Francisco Standard that the closure was not an easy decision, also said the economics of running a franchised restaurant in San Francisco continue to be a challenge, particularly in a downtown that is impacted by high office building vacancy rates and a visitor trend that have not recovered since the pandemic. Furthermore, having no parking or a drive-through lane were factors in his decision to close the business. So when it comes to restaurants closing in California, especially McDonald's, kind of seems like it's something other than or more than the wage increase. The pandemic, the cost of rent, the supply chain, and prime location seems like other factors. They're inflation proof. Here's why. McDonald's doesn't make its money by selling Big Macs because we are not technically in the food business. We are in the real estate business. The only reason we sell 15-cent hamburgers is because they are the greatest producer of revenue from which our tenants can pay us our rent. And if those tenants can get away with selling $10 quarter pounders with cheese in order to help their profit margins, they will. See, McDonald's is a real estate business, a secret $40 billion real estate business empire that is technically the 5th largest real estate company in the world in terms of assets, that per Polymatter. Franchisees, managers, and supervisors may claim that with the cost of labor being the largest expense, price increases and laying off workers is the obvious choice. But I don't know. Shrinkflation is also their go-to move. McDonald's clearly skimped out on this patty in one of their Big Macs. We're paying the same, if not more money, for less. Additionally, they were paying their staff less money to begin with. You know, wage theft. Something that Mayor McCheese and Officer Big Mac turn a blind eye to. It's been a few minutes, Danny.
Boy, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Not for me, you're not sure.
In 2019, McDonald's agreed to pay $26 million to settle a years-long legal battle, which was filed in early 2013, with California cooks and cashiers who had accused the company of failing to properly pay them for their work and expenses, along with structuring shifts in a way that denied workers overtime pay. The lawsuit also said the company denied workers timely breaks, which were allowed only at the start and end of a shift instead of in the middle when the restaurant got busy. Workers said the company required them to clean and iron uniforms without compensating them for the expense of maintaining their clothes as they got damaged in the restaurant's smoky and greasy work conditions. Congress's nonpartisan watchdog, the Government Accountability Office, released a report in November of 2020 showing that most adults who receive Medicaid and SNAP benefits work full-time jobs but make very little money. McDonald's was in the top 5 in at least 9 states. We, the taxpayers, are paying the difference. Quote, at a time when huge corporations like Walmart and McDonald's are making billions in profits and giving their CEOs tens of millions of dollars a year, they're relying on corporate welfare from the federal government by paying their workers starvation wages, said the one who got away. Is there a white person version of that song? Yeah. I'm not going to say that a minimum wage has no impact on restaurants closing and staff getting laid off, but I am saying that McDonald's charging its franchises minimum rent is too. So while the average McDonald's franchise has $2.9 million in total expenses and a net income of $290,000, we can almost multiply that by 18 for somebody like Scott Roderick. I'm not trying to pick on Scotty, but he became the face of a franchisee for me and the right wing. Oh no. Oftentimes, he'll make the argument for them. However, Roderick said he was leaving no stone unturned to save money after the minimum wage increase. And to be fair to him, he is on record telling employees who got laid off at one of his other closing restaurants that they can and will get hired at his other locations. He had already increased prices at his restaurants by between 5% and 7% from January of 2024 through April. Did they bring in more customers? You should know that Arby's roast beef, Foster's Freeze, and chains like Wendy's, Burger King, Starbucks, and Chipotle raised their prices by up to 8% in California. Although, look at In-N-Out Burger, which makes better burgers than Mickey D's. Worse fries though. The starting wage for In-N-Out employees in California is $22 to $23 per hour. In-N-Out Burger raised prices for some items at California locations to go along with a $2 per hour raise for its workers after the state-initiated minimum wage increase. Since April 1st, prices for a double-double burger, fries, and a drink increased by 25 cents to 50 cents depending on locations. The double-double combo now costs $11.44 in Los Angeles County, a 76-cent increase from last year's price. Price increases have also been reported at locations in San Francisco, according to USA Today. So, the point is, I hope these CEO types who are fighting to stop price increases of their food consider everything.
So the 5-to-1 salary cap means that the top executives in the company will never make more than 5 times the lowest paid fully vested worker. That's somebody who's been here for 5 years at the lowest position.
Most companies, they just eat all that extra profit up with huge bonuses and yachts and all kinds of crap when you could be doing so much good in the world. An ethical company should pay a fair salary and good benefits and enable people to make ends meet on the wages they receive. Everything in addition goes to charity and the causes we support. So we're really trying to set an example of just being reasonable. You know, we live great. We live an awesome life. We feel enriched by the super high, joyous vibes around here. For us to prosper, everyone needs.
McDonald's CEO makes thousands of times more than their median employee. Bonuses, stock options, and all of it. If they wanted to, McDonald's could make the Quarter Pounder and Big Mac like $4 a piece, permanently. Just 2 things on the menu. Put the price of the bun though. Show its customers that rising prices piss them off. They'd even kill because of it. It would be the coolest thing. Make it work. Those Costco hot dogs, their CEO said, by the way, if you raise the price to $1.75, it would not be that big of a deal. People would still buy it, but it's the mindset that when you think of Costco, you think of the $1.50 hot dog and soda. I'm from Columbus. Feels weird calling a pop a soda. What we figured out we could do is build our own hot dog manufacturing plant in Los Angeles and make our own Kirkland signature hot dogs. Now we are doing so much hot dog business that we've opened up another plant in Chicago. And yes, Costco has just about increased prices on everything else in the food court over the years. I mean, McDonald's could pay its staff way more too. A study called Wages, Minimum Wages, a Price Pass-Through, the case of McDonald's restaurants published in the National Bureau of Economic Research, sees McDonald's as the perfect place to look into the cause and effects of minimum wage increases. Per NPR, the authors of that study obtained data on hourly wage rates of McDonald's basic crew employees, the prices of Big Macs, and other information. They crunched the numbers to see what happens when a city or state increases its minimum wage. They weren't able to say much about the effects of minimum wages on employment, but they claim that McDonald's pays above the minimum wage, creating kind of a magnet for workers. Overall, the economists found that if the minimum wage goes up by 10%, the average McDonald's restaurant will increase workers' wages by about 7%. They found that when the minimum wage goes up, the price of a Big Mac goes up too. But basically, all of the increase of labor costs gets passed right on to the customers. I was about to waste my time and compare and contrast the price of a Big Mac in America to that in Denmark and then compare minimum wage. But why? For people who don't care about living wages, who don't know that the average fast food worker in America is a 23-year-old white woman? For people caping for corporations and CEOs, man, when the cost of eggs skyrocketed, people forgot that egg companies have proven to gouge prices and scramble through antitrust. Those same corporations and CEOs who came up with the idea that unskilled or low-skilled positions should be subsidized by welfare while their businesses get incentives. The corporations and CEOs who bust unions, who moved warehouses, factories, and assembly lines overseas and chose automation over American workers. Oh, going back to that study I mentioned earlier, the authors found that touch screens weren't installed in response to higher minimum wages either. I haven't looked, but that McDonald's in Texas where people are served by robots, have they decreased their prices and do they see an increase in foot traffic and visits in their restaurants? And yeah, McDonald's has new meal deals, cool, and stuff's cheaper on the app, bet. Meanwhile, Buffalo Wild Wings recently had one of its most successful promotions in some time with its all-you-can-eat boneless wings deal. Probably could do a little better if they just called them what they are, nuggets. Boneless wings are nuggets for adults. I can't really see McDonald's having a standard price of $4 for Big Macs or fries or quarter pounders, but if paying people what it takes for them to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in their city brings about the demise of a business, then is this system working? And do those businesses deserve our business? Do I even need to say it, Danny?
We're not too old for this shit. We're not too old for this shit. Say it like you believe it. We're not too old for this shit. Yeah.
We gonna be all right.
Take any city, walk around, you see people starving, people without basic necessities. There's no excuse for that. And it's not because people are lazy or don't want to work. The billionaires that keep amassing more and more wealth so they can build rocket ships and do whatever the hell they want to do, that does nothing for humanity.
Your critics say that's class warfare.
Yeah, class warfare has been going on in this country for the last 40 years. The billionaire class has been taking everything and leaving the working class with nothing.
So you welcome it. You want the war.
It's always, whenever working class people ever step up and say, this is wrong, we want it to stop, all of a sudden, oh, it's class warfare, it's the end of the world.